Good morning, everybody. This is Bill Danenauer from Sideline Power here on the Ballin with Bill show. Thank you, Sideline Power, for being one of the top sponsors here for us. And I have a great guest today here, the fine person I've known for a while, good football coach, Kevin Crume from Nebraska Wesleyan, their defensive coordinator. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you, Coach. I've known you for a while because of being in the GPAC and all that stuff, and your head football coach also is a friend of mine. He likes to give me a bad time once in a while. So how did you get started in football, Coach?
Yeah, it's been quite the journey for sure. I graduated from Bellevue East High School a long time ago now. Was a four-year letterman in football there, wrestled as well. Decided that I wanted to pursue college football and decided to go at the Division III level. Spent my first semester at Buena Vista, which is up in Storm Lake, Iowa, which is now one of our conference opponents now.
Right.
Decided I wanted to get back into Nebraska and transferred down to Nebraska Wesleyan, and pretty much I've been there ever since. Had a great experience down there with Coach Keller. We were fortunate to win the first GPAC championship back in the year 2000. Had a great year. A lot of fun, obviously, when you're winning.
Right.
And so, that kind of just, I knew I wanted to be a part of the game. I didn't know I was going to be at the collegiate level.
Right.
I thought I would be in probably small town Nebraska or somewhere in the Midwest, probably coaching 3 sports, teaching. And, I was fortunate enough to get into the college game and just, you know how it is. You pay your dues and you work your way up. And, here I am all these years later. So it's been quite the ride.
That's very awesome. So when you're at Bellevue East, who was your head football coach that time, Coach?
Jerry Lovell.
I know Jerry. Good guy.
Yep. So Jerry was Coach Lovell. I was a sophomore when Coach Lovell got the head coaching job.
Okay.
So I guess my freshman year, Bill James was the
Bill
head
was still
coach.
there?
Yep.
No, Billy real well. That's long. He was coaching when I played football. So
Correct.
That's how long Coach James was there.
Yeah, and I think he was there before it was even Bellevue East. It was Bellevue High.
Yeah, he was, because when we played him when I was at West Side, it was Bellevue High. It was before they added West. Yes.
Yep.
Because they added West when I was in college.
Yep. That sounds about right. So I played 3 years under Coach Lovell, and didn't win many games, but
he was always doing some different things though. He was kind of trying to get Bellevue East moving and stuff, and do some different offensive things. He ran some things at Wishbone, just trying to get you guys scoring some points, and you guys got better every year. I know that under him.
Yeah, I will say that. I mean, just increasing the overall work ethic.
Right.
We basically had mandatory times in the weight room that we had to be in there, and
that's good.
Back in the mid '90s, that was kind of unheard of for the most part. And so, I mean, just seeing where he kind of took it, and it was taught me how to work hard in the weight room. That's for sure.
Gotcha. I hear you. That's awesome. I mean, because I think weight room's a big part of the whole situation as we move forward here in time. It's amazing what that weight room can do for you as your student athletes. I think they make them better, and the good ones better, and the great ones even better too if they'll work at it. I think it just makes a difference what you can do in that weight room. So, what made you decide to be a coach? Where did you first get the inkling to be a coach?
Yeah, in high school there was a teacher. His name was Kent Jensen.
Okay.
Right. I'm not even sure where Kent went to high school. I know he spent some time at Concordia in his college days, but he kind of took me under his wing, and I needed that at the time, and kind of taught me how to work hard, and that you will see results if you're willing to work hard, and I just saw his overall leadership, and I kind of flocked to that, and so that was kind of the driving factor with me. Number one, getting into education in general, and kind of drifting toward football and the love of the game. So I kind of started there.
Wow. So when you went to college, did you know you wanted to do education, or did you go in a different field and move to education?
No, I knew I wanted to go into education.
Good.
I've never taught a class in a high school setting. I was fortunate enough to get involved in the college game early, and I guess I'm using my education degree in a little different way now. So
good. I mean, did you leave Wesleyan after you played at all and go anywhere first, or did you go straight into working with Coach Keller?
Yeah. So Coach Keller approached me about volunteering right after I was done playing. He knew I was an education major, so obviously that's a good way to get some help, keep guys involved in the program.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to get away for a year and just kind of experience something else. So went down. I did my student teaching down at Lincoln High, and Coach Keller was awesome. He contacted John Farron, and John brought me on coaching the varsity. I had total responsibility as a first-year coach over the linebackers.
Oh, wow.
So I really appreciate that. What John did for me. My first year of coaching let me experience, let me learn, and I'm forever thankful for that opportunity that I received there at Lincoln High.
Oh, good deal.
And then,
how long were you there?
I was only there for one season.
Okay.
Yeah. The following year, I contacted Coach Keller, and back then you don't have text or anything like that.
No, you
had to actually make a phone call.
Yeah.
And I called Coach. And I said, "Hey, does that offer still stand? I wanted to try my hand at the collegiate game, and to kind of find my path from there after I got to experience both. And ultimately, I decided that I want to stay in college football."
When you first came on, what were you? What position or what did you do for Coach Keller?
Yeah.
As far as your responsibilities.
Yeah. So first responsibility, I was coaching the linebackers.
Okay, that's right.
There was two of us, and we were both the same age, two coaches, and we kind of worked together and coached that year together. And back then I was substitute teaching to make a little money on the side there.
So you were part-time when you first started?
I was part-time, yeah.
Yeah.
And so did that for about 5 years. Substitute teaching out in LPS, and going to office after that. And we didn't have all the online services back then, so we had to actually cut up tape and everything. The old VHS tapes, dub a whole bunch of.
You'd have those. What do you call that day? I can't remember what we used to call that. What was that called? Where you put the tape in and you had all those
like 5 VCRs recording. Yeah. I think it was like a Web Electronics or something. Like that.
Web was big back then.
Yeah, they were, yeah,
because they had the cowboy remote and all that.
Yes, yeah. So I was there making all these copies, making them late at night of different cut-up files and everything.
Right.
And we kind of bypassed the DVD era. The whole JPEG did.
Right.
We really didn't do anything back then.
No. We went. I think we went straight from there to online stuff, didn't we?
Either that or maybe external hard drives.
Yeah, we did. That's right. We did it. Yeah, that's right. We did external hard drives before, because it was before Huddle came out.
Yep.
And then we did it. Yeah, we put games on external hard drives and we exchanged them that way.
Yeah. You probably never exchanged, but us young coaches did.
I did when I was a young coach. I did. I was like, oh yeah, because I remember meeting Brian or his assistant halfway when I was first came back after pro wrestling. Yeah.
I always had to do the Northwestern trip, so we'd meet in Oakland, Nebraska, myself and the Northwestern coach. And I guess when you're 23 years old, you get the furthest trip to meet halfway.
Yeah, I always got the close one because I lived out in Millard, right? So I just met Coach over at the SAP place over there off of 370, and we exchanged films back then. I can't remember who was assistant. It was before you. I remember meeting him over there, and we'd go for a cup of coffee and talk about the previous game and what the things that happened. And that was always kind of fun to do.
Yeah, you kind of miss out on those things now.
Now it's just.
Yeah, you click two clicks of the mouse, and you get your film. You don't have that interaction now.
No, so. You don't know kind of the scouting, because it was kind of nice to sit down and talk, because you kind of give each other a little bit of a scouting report, what you've seen in the league and the players and who looked real good and strong and who affected you. And you don't get that now.
You don't get
that. You have
that
to call them and tell them or text them and ask them.
Yeah.
How good is this? How good is this quarterback at live?
You're right.
Tore us up, coach.
Tore us up.
Oh, cool. That's it. It's made, because when I first started coaching, it was 16 millimeter. I mean, the old. And I remember we had to split those films up. You taped them all up around the room. And Coach Keller remembered this, because I'm sure when he was a young coach too, and you've got to splice them together and all that stuff. So it's come a long ways now. I mean, but it was different.
I heard the stories.
Yeah,
and we still have those machines. So
you still have the 16
we still have them. We still got
really in the archive room or something.
We do. We got the reels and everything. Our goal. So if anybody's watching, they want to make a good donation, is to get those things put on digital, so just to preserve them.
Right.
And we don't want all that film getting lost, but that does cost some money to preserve that.
We're trying to do the same thing at UNO, because drop football, but they got all these years from OU football to UNO football. We're raising some money, trying to do the same thing, put all that on digital, all the 16 millimeter. So it's it's very expensive.
Yeah, but something that's necessary though.
Yeah, it is,
because you get a lot of alumni that come back and they.
Oh, I'm sure, because you guys probably homecoming and all that stuff. Yeah. Have a nice day to get your alumni back and all that still, probably, don't you?
Yep, and they're all asking, do you still have this film, and yeah, but we don't have a means of getting it to you. So
unless you got a 16 millimeter at home,
yeah, I don't know many people that do up in the attic or something.
If you play it back, it may split up because it's so dang old and brittle.
It might be.
Oh my, yeah, those are good days. So, when did you first become the defensive coordinator, Coach?
Yeah, it was in after the 2010 season. You know,
so it was after Dana closed.
It was the year, yeah, that same year, because I think Dana closed during the summer of
right,
10.
July, yes.
Yeah, and so after that schedule got kind of reworked, our defense coordinator at the time, John Bates.
Where'd he go?
John went down to, his wife got a really good job down at the University of Texas.
Okay.
They were down there for 6 months, and then they moved back up to the Pacific Northwest. That was kind of the goal for them the whole time, eventually to get back up there. And now he's very fortunate. He's got a great job. He's a defense coordinator at George Fox University.
Oh, is he really? Well,
yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So, you know, I got him to thank for a lot of things, too, just kind of showing me how, you know, he gave me a lot of freedom, and, you know, I had a big say in our defense back then. And, you know, he recommended me for the defense coordinator job when he officially resigned to move. And, you know, I've been here. 2020 was going to be my 10th year of being the defense coordinator.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, so it's 2021 will be your 10th year.
Yeah, I guess the spring's going to be my official 10th season. Yeah, and then, you know, in the fall it'll be my 11th. So yeah, it's kind of weird how things work out. But
Coach Bates, a good guy.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember meeting him and his wife. They're really nice people. I'm glad he's doing well because he's from the Pacific Northwest, isn't he? From up that way.
He's originally from Oregon.
Yeah.
We hired him in 2004 was his first season as defense coordinator. So I kind of got, you know, I worked with the staff that was there before John got there, and then when John got there, you know, that kind of kept me there at Nebraska Wesleyan because I wanted to learn a different style of defense.
Right. Because he brought in the 3-5.
He brought in the 3-5.
Because before, Coach was a 4-2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, you know, just to experience a three-man front, and, you know, I think that's a great thing to put on your resume, or just to gain that knowledge of, you know, the 4-front versus the 3-front and all the things in between now. So
what'd you do different once you became the defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember going against your defense. It was always very sound. Good defense. Good hustle. Nebraska Wesleyan always run to the ball real hard, and you had some good blitzes in there too that would befuddle our passing game a little bit too.
Yeah.
It was good. So I mean, go ahead, tell me what you've done different, or where you've gone from now that you're the DC.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the compliments there. You know, those were hard footsteps to follow. You know, our defensive guys loved John, respected Coach Bates a lot, and you know, just in order to follow in those footsteps, you know, I knew I had to kind of find my own path, but at the same time, kind of have to still bring up, you know, a lot of the things that we did, because it was all very good.
And you were part of it too.
I was a part of it,
yeah.
And you know, obviously he was the defense coordinator, but a lot of that we put our heads together and we built together. And so when I got the job as defense coordinator, you know, I had to take a deep look at our personnel. And here we were, a three-man front for 7 years.
Yeah.
And we looked at our roster, and we were stacked at defensive line.
Okay.
And so we transitioned back to the four-man front. And we've been a four-man front team ever since the fall of 2011. You know, obviously, I still got that knowledge of the 3-3 back in the day.
It's probably a good thing to adjust to in long distance and stuff like that when you got or a team that's going to spread you all over the field, and it gives you some ideas how to adjust to it, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah. No, it's the forefront is very simplistic. You know, it's kind of more putting the responsibility on taking care of your assignment. Obviously, I'm a big believer in, you know, any defensive call is designed to beat any offensive call. And vice versa.
You know who gets the shot glass, right?
Whoever's got that shot glass is usually going to win.
That's
so,
right.
You know, it really does come down to the Jimmies and the Joes.
Oh, it does.
And not the X-Nos. So.
A good example is pro football. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay one year and they win the thing.
That's
now I think they had better personnel than he probably had in his last couple of years at that. But still, it just shows you, without that guy, does New England win all them Super Bowls?
Right. Well, you know, we have to make sure we give a shout out to the architect of that team, Jason Light. He's a Nebraska Wesleyan alum.
That's right. I remember Mark telling me.
Yeah.
And I was really happy for the Nebraska guys on there too.
Absolutely.
Sue and all, you know, that good.
David.
Davis at linebacker. I was really happy for those guys because they really played an excellent football game.
Yeah.
And shut down a very powerful offense.
That was amazing to see.
I mean, because you talk about all the speed, like Mark and I talk about here in the office, is the speed they got. That's hard to defend them. And the quarterback, I mean, even though they were chasing them over the field, it was, you know, you've been a coach. It's hard to catch it.
It's hard to catch. Yeah.
And he's throwing the balls. He's falling down.
I know, that was amazing to see it. How far he threw that thing.
Falling down.
Like, as a defense coach, you're like, what else do we need to do? Now, luckily, most of those balls were incomplete, but it still drives you crazy.
Well, because he gets it off.
He gets it off, yeah.
And then when you get a ball off like that, there's always a chance it could be a catch or you don't know.
Yeah.
And as DC, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
please have our guys in the right spot.
You're playing an old school game of 500 at that point.
Yes.
Hopefully they don't come down with
That's
it.
true. That's true. I mean, it's amazing how well that defense played. And I mean, because they chased him all day, and they had to be their tongues had to be hanging out, and they got locker after the D line because they were. I mean,
they were running.
They were running. I mean, that's why I think Sue hit him so hard when he had a chance to, because he started chasing him. Yes, he was. So, how did you make that adjustment to the 4-man front? I mean, because personnel, but there's a lot of teaching to do that. So, how'd you do all that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we stayed with the same philosophy, that we did in the 3-man front.
Okay.
We were never a 2-gap defense with the 3-man front. We were always 1-gap, and so all those teaching.
Some people do the 2-gap.
Correct, but all those teaching principles carried over into the forefront. The defensive coaching staff all remained the same after Coach Bates left, and so there was a lot of familiarity there, and so it was a simple adjustment. I mean, we knew we had to get our playmakers on the field, and at that time, that was our defensive line. Had a couple of All-Americans there. Phil Latimer was a phenomenal player for us, a 2-time AFCA All-American.
Right.
He's actually on our Hall of Fame, if you will, our All-American board 3 different times.
Wow.
And so, I mean, just to have a ball player like that, and, I know all the GPAC coaches always were like, how did you get this guy? I mean, this guy's the best defensive lineman in the league. And, here he is at Nebraska Wesleyan, a Division III school.
Right.
So
that's impressive. Where's he from?
He's from Broomfield, Colorado.
Okay.
Yep.
How'd you pull him out of there? How the heck? Because that's a well recruited area.
Yeah,
Broomfield's not far from Denver.
Yeah, with Phil, I mean, he was getting some RMAC offers.
Well, I can believe that.
He got selected to play in Colorado's version of the Shrine Bowl, their summer All-Star game, and he just wasn't the tallest cat, and so
that's where he got overlooked.
That's where he got overlooked, and I mean, we're not going to overlook anybody.
Right.
I mean, if they can play ball, they can play ball, and Phil was one of those guys, and just had a very dominant career. I think he finished 2 sacks short of the all-time record at Nebraska Wesleyan.
And you had some Nebraska Wesleyan. Nebraska Wesleyan's had some Nebraska transfers there. When I was coaching, Coach would get 1 or 2 of those things when you were playing there.
Yep.
And they were some dang good big defensive linemen. So that's saying a lot, because those kids were animals to block.
Yeah, they were. We had some big guys.
You
back
did,
in the day.
because they were good on the track team too. They were the throwers too. I mean,
a couple of
you
them
stand
were
out with them and said, "Who do I got to block him?"
Yeah.
Go back to my locker room and say, "Man, we got to go recruit somebody."
Not only that, but it looked like we had a D lineman playing middle backer for us. I mean, Nolan Urbon, who coaches at Millard South now,
Right.
He was 6'1", 255-pound Mike linebacker. And so you get through that first wave of 300-pound D lineman. Now you got to work your way up to the 255.
I know you guys were so saying that what that kid did, because the talent you had back then on defense, you had some bosses.
Yep. And honestly, I mean, we kept things very simple up front. Everyone makes fun of me. I mean, we literally ran an over front with cover 4 behind it.
Okay.
And that was our go-to. That was our bread and butter. We just had good players that executed it. And
interesting. That's neat. So you made this adjustment. How did it go that first year when you made this adjustment?
Yeah. We kind of treated it, we were 4-3 personnel, but we treated it as a 4-2-5, kind of where our placement with the Sam linebacker, we kind of treated him as a strong safety.
Right.
We learned some things in there just with the run fits and everything, and it wasn't anything bad that we were doing. We made a kind of a slight adjustment the last 2 games of the year in 2011, and that kind of led to our success in 2012 and 2013 of putting out some really good defenses out there, usually in the top 5 in the NAI in scoring defense, and we kept it simple. I mean, that's for sure.
Good. Now, with the big no huddle and all that stuff that's going on. I mean, we did it. I know you saw, but now a lot of people do it. I mean, and spreading you out, trying to get you outflanked. How does the 4-man front work with all that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had a lot of practice defending your offenses back in the day with the hurry up stuff, no huddle.
That's how we had to play. We didn't have the offensive line to get it by, so we tried to, make you get tired a little bit by chasing us around,
and that we did. Yeah, so I mean, with our 4-man front, I mean, you have your base rules set in, and then I mean, your coverage dictates what you're doing. So I mean, even if the offense is a no huddle offense, we still have our base alignments versus those formations. We get that ingrained into their brains right away in day one, and we see a lot of different stuff from Coach Keller. I mean,
oh yeah, Coach Keith. I always enjoyed breaking his film down because he did a lot of in a different way, but he got to some things like we did. So I always like to get the Nebraska Wesleyan film because I could see how they were going to try to defend us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of what he was doing.
Yeah, he's usually throwing in a lot of stuff day one that we haven't even covered, so we're always trying to play catch up.
Yeah, he got on the board yet over it. What set is that?
Yeah, I'm like, why are you motioning all this? We haven't even talked motions yet, and so we got to quickly cover it on the field because you know how offensive coaches are. I mean, defense kind of wants to slow it down and teach, and offense kind of wants a little more repetition just to
get it on film.
Get it on film, and let's get to the next play. Because we're all reactionary basically on defense,
right?
And so it's got its challenges, but at the same time, if you have your base rules set in, how you line up the formations and how how the coverage dictates what you're doing as far as the run fit or pass responsibility, then I don't think it's all that big of a deal. It's probably more for me. I know our players get frustrated sometimes because I'm a little late getting the call in.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Well, you're looking at personnel.
Yeah,
probably
I'm looking
too.
at personnel. Where are they lining up, and then you're trying to get your call in based off that. And so that's part of the challenge. It's probably more me. Our players adapt to it pretty well.
How is it getting personnel on off the field if you need to, depending on formation, and they're hurrying up? How does that affect you guys?
Yeah, well, hopefully the offense substitutes, so the
then you get your chance.
Yeah, then we get our chance. But if they don't change their personnel, more than likely we're not changing our personnel.
Right.
And so. The great thing about small college football, you're going to put your best 11 out there.
Right.
So as far as trying to match up with a certain personnel group of the offense, at our level probably doesn't make a lot of sense like it would in the NFL or the,
right.
Okay,
so when you look at when you're looking at putting the kids on the field, so that's leads me to this question. When you're putting those personnel on the field, do you look for more athletic kids that can do the run and pass both, depending on if they change stuff up on you as far as formation and are going to open it up? I mean, what do you look as far, and probably defensive line, but then the linebackers and secondary, what do you look for talent-wise?
Yeah, talent-wise, I mean, speed kills. And, I mean...
Alabama,
yeah. You're seeing that so much more and more with the spread game, and here I am, 11 years into it. We've been seeing it for years. So, back when you were coaching at Dana, I mean, really it was a lot of two-back offenses still at that time.
There was. We were a rarity.
You were a rarity.
You and Coach Keller gets one back too. He and I were the rare ones in the conference. You're right. And Morningside.
And Morningside, yeah. Yeah, you didn't really have to worry about the spread stuff until about third down, and then you kind of had your third down calls.
Get personnel in, yes.
Yeah. And now you're living in it where it's spread game, or people do so many different things with their personnel, and you have an H-back, but that H-back can line up as a true number 1, number 2 wide receiver, or he can line up in the backfield, he can line up at tight end, and so personnel's kind of messing with you a little bit more now. And
especially if you get a big kid that can run.
Yeah, and we see them.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we see those in the American Rivers Conference. They do. There's some good coaching. There's some good players in this league that we're playing in now. So.
Oh yeah, I think both conferences are great, the GPAC and that. Good conference in the GPAC, and now you're in a good conference there with that Iowa schools and stuff and everything. They all play very good football, and they recruit very well too.
Yeah, they do.
How's the traveling going? Because before you'd travel half an hour to play Doane, travel another half an hour to play Concordia.
Yeah.
And an hour to play Midland.
Yeah, our furthest trip was Mitchell, South Dakota.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was only 4 hours for you and us.
Yeah,
for us and you. Yeah.
So we're basically playing at Mitchell, South Dakota every week now.
Yeah.
But No, the travel's fine. I mean, honestly, I think our guys enjoy it. They get to see some different stadiums.
No, they do.
Some different locations in the country now.
Wartburg has a heck of a stadium.
Wartburg has a very nice facility.
Yeah.
University of Dubuque has really nice facilities.
That's just one guy spent all that money up there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, you get the bus trips. You know, you get home a little bit later. You know, everything's all great if you win. Those bus trips go a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a little bit of an adjustment. We went up and played Luther College in 2016.
And there's no easy way to get to Luther.
There's no easy way to get up to Luther, but you know, that was our first conference win in the new conference.
Good deal.
You know, we were traveling back, and I don't even remember what time we got back, but you know, you won, and that's all that mattered. And so, just giving our players a different opportunity that, you know, maybe they couldn't get in another conference.
Right.
I mean, we're playing teams from not only Iowa, but you know, we played a school from Missouri. We played a couple schools from Illinois now since we've been straight up D3.
Yeah.
We played up in Moorhead, Minnesota a couple years ago.
Okay. Concordia.
Yeah. And so we got some games scheduled. We open up in 21 with Eureka College.
Okay. Are you going?
They're coming here to Lincoln.
Okay.
And then week 2 we travel up to Augsburg up in Minnesota.
Okay. That'll be a good trip there.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to
That's
it.
downtown Minneapolis or St. Paul. They're on the St. Paul side. No, they're in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, I think they're in Minneapolis.
Yeah, because St. John's is on the St. Paul side.
Yeah. I'll let you know in September.
So now this spring, how many games did you play in the spring? I know because you guys moved your schedule to spring this year.
Yeah. You know, pretty unfortunate. We were the last Division III conference to postpone our season. We were really set on playing. Our university was ready to play. Our president, President Good, we were ready. We had secured testing for the entire season for all athletics. But unfortunately, we had the conference itself had to postpone. We're actually starting in 2 weeks. We're starting practice, so we'll have about.
I hope it warms up, Coach.
Me too. Yeah, we gotta get some snow off the field. But we got a 3-game schedule, so we'll start that the first weekend of April. We'll open up at home. We actually get to play a night game, which is a little different. We haven't had a night game in some time.
Yeah.
So we'll open up with Buena Vista at home. Central College will come to Lincoln the following week, and then we travel to Co. And then kind of shut it down and get ready for the real season of the fall.
So now, how has this affected your recruiting? Because I know you got a year with the kids. If they want to stay around for another year, they can. How's this affected your recruiting and all that?
You know, it hasn't affected recruiting as far as numbers go.
Good.
You know, we've done a really good job of recruiting this year so far. Obviously, we're still in it, trying to finish up on some 21 grads,
right,
and then start working our way onto the 22 guys.
Right.
But you know, we didn't travel into any schools. This was the first
year.
That was hard. It was very hard. You know, I mean, just talking about the old GPAC days where you talk to the opposing coach when you exchange film. I mean, we always look forward to going in there and talking with the high school coach.
Get an eye test.
And talking to these kids in person. And, you know, we just haven't had that opportunity. And so I think we've all learned what Zoom is, you know. We've spent a lot of time on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, in a way, I think we found some other things that we could do that are positive, too. Yeah. And, you know, we will incorporate those moving forward. Yeah.
Because I always liked it, and I'm sure you did too, being a coach. I'd always try to get an eye test on the kid and talk to him in person to get a feel for him. Yeah. You know, can you do that on Zoom? Does it work that way on Zoom? Is it hard? I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you're trying to engage as much as you possibly can on Zoom. Obviously, you can't have a kid. You know, you're not going to ask him to stand up. You can't measure him by any means.
Kid is like, hey, I want you to check your height and weight here. Can you run a 40 quick?
Yeah, I'm going to time it. But it's you know, you just really try to judge the character of a kid when you're on Zoom. And there's been some where I've seen that, you know, I just don't think they would be good fits at Nebraska Wesleyan. And that's nothing against that kid.
No, you know. I mean, same thing. I mean, yeah. I mean, we had certain ways that, you know, and that's probably hard at your school too. And you tell me if I'm wrong. When I was at Dana, what do you call that? Not the athletics, but that they always bring you in. You know, word I'm looking for here. Gosh dang it!
Like fall camp, or
no, the you always work with them when you're bringing kids on campus and stuff. That group. I've lost it here.
Yeah, I don't
know. Anyway, but I mean, they always want the kid because they're trying to get students in.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're trying to make sure it's the right fit
yes,
for Dana.
Yes, like the admissions.
Yes,
process.
the admissions.
Yeah,
That's the way. It was just getting stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, the missions wanted that kid because it's another student, but we didn't always think it was a good fit, and that was our dilemma we have. I don't know if you still have that at Nebraska Wesleyan or.
Yeah, our admissions office is phenomenal.
Right, that's good.
Yeah, they're great to work with. They do a great job. If we say, hey, this kid's he's not a good fit for us, usually they take us at our word.
Yeah.
And it helps, Coach Keller and I have been there for so long.
I know.
We've been there longer than all the admissions people. And so
that's true. That's probably true. Because they come and go like crazy.
They come and go. Our vice president for enrollment, Bill Motzer, has done a phenomenal job, and he has an athletic
That's
mind
good.
to him.
That's a key there. Yeah.
So, I think some big names are in store for us in the future. I'm excited. Our president is an athletics guy.
That's good.
He loves athletics, and so we get this COVID stuff wrapped up. Maybe we can. See
How was that this fall handled up with your recruits coming in and school? How is that all this year? That had to be something. Because you've never in fall. You're in August. You're starting camp. You're getting after. You're getting ready for your first game, and now all of a sudden, you're sitting there with these kids and trying to keep them occupied and keep them interested without not playing a game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we were fortunate. We got 24 practices.
Oh, good.
In the fall. So at least we were able to do something.
Did they let you scrimmage at all? Anybody?
No, we couldn't scrimmage anybody.
Okay.
Because they had to meet the same testing requirements that we could,
okay.
or that we had to follow. But
okay.
We had inter-squad scrimmages every Saturday, treated as big as we possibly could.
Keep the kids,
keep them interested,
yes.
And
that's a hard thing, especially freshmen.
Yes, yeah. Honestly, for the freshmen, I think it was great because
good job.
We got the whole fall to develop these guys instead of how it is during fall camp. You're trying to rush because you got game one coming up before you know it.
Right.
And you're trying to teach as much as you can, but now the freshmen got 24 opportunities
to prove themselves,
to learn what the college game is, learn all the terminology changes.
That's a good point.
And now here they are coming back. We're starting in 2 weeks. They already have a head start. So I think if anything, it really helped our freshmen. It really sucks for our seniors though, and it was hard to have that conference call with those guys on Zoom, unfortunately.
Oh, you didn't get to tell them in person, you had to tell them on Zoom?
No, we had to tell them on Zoom.
That's hard.
We got notified the day before we were supposed to move in that our season was going to be postponed. And so, big shout out to Coach Keller. He's been amazing during this whole thing. We've all been put in hard situations, but just the way he's been able to handle it and adjust on a daily basis.
Yeah, good for him. Because that'd have been hard.
It was tough. I mean, we had some fifth-year guys that were going to come back, and
are they going to just go ahead and graduate?
They went ahead and graduated. I'm very fortunate that one of them got a GA job at Colorado School of Mines.
Good.
And so we actually brought him on staff to help us coach in the fall. Like, well, you're not going to play any games. We want to keep you involved. So what do you think about coaching? Let's get you that coaching start that you wanted. Right. And so, Nick Cortez is his name, and he did a phenomenal job with helping out with our secondary. Just another set of eyes out there with all that space.
Right.
So, he did a good job. He's going to be a good coach.
That's who excuse me. That's who I felt bad for this year. The kids that didn't get to play in high school, the kids that didn't get to play college, and it was their final year.
Yeah.
They missed out on that important, because that's the last thing you remember.
Right.
Because it's the last time you put the uniform on.
Yep.
And that's hard for all people.
Yeah.
All the athletes.
Yeah. We do have a couple of our seniors that are going to use that year and come back.
Okay.
And I'm excited for them.
Good for them.
But we also had some seniors that, you're going to a school like Nebraska Wesleyan.
I know.
I mean, so they're on pace to graduate on time. They have their future plans pretty much figured out.
And the cost of coming back
is
it's more expensive for them too.
Correct.
So yeah.
But we got guys going to physical therapy school, occupational therapy school,
good.
And so they need to move on. They can't put their life on hold for another year.
No, because you only get so many chances to go to that.
Correct.
I mean, they only have so many spots.
They only have so many spots.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I wish you guys a ton of luck.
Appreciate it.
Hope you have a great spring season and stay healthy so you're ready to come back in the fall, because that's the biggest question mark. You don't want any major injuries, because if you get them then, you could lose them for the fall.
That's a big concern of everybody.
Yes.
Playing in the spring.
Yeah. So hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah.
Wish you luck. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And getting through this cold weather.
Yeah. It's cold.
Yes, it is. Mighty cold in Nebraska today, people. Anyway, you know how we finish the show. You know, before you ever met me, I was a pro wrestler.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we've got a hush. That means we want food or money, not necessarily in that order. Okay?
Okay.
And you put your hand like this. You get that look in the face of one eye, and you go, hush, 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 hush. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, Coach.